Hello, my name is Alex, and I am an advertising expert. I've been in the industry for approximately 7 years, out of which for 3 years I've been running and building my agency. I specialize in digital advertising, strategy building, and media adaptation. We have worked with a list of government agencies, military contractors, clinics, and other businesses in entertainment or commerce. Today, in this video, I will talk about what is a social media specialist, how to become a social media specialist, and how to find your niche in that industry. For starters, let's define what is or who is a social media specialist. In simple terms, a social media specialist is an advertiser whose main focus is advertising on social media, either via conventional methods, which is setting up targeted ads, or through other means, which can be running guerrilla campaigns on social media or utilizing influencers or whatsoever. It is also important to mention that there are different kinds of social media specialists. For example, you can be an all-around social media specialist, which is, I would honestly say, the most commonly occurring type of a specialist, so to say. What does a social media specialist do in general? They manage social media accounts, for example, Instagram pages, TikTok accounts, or whatever else. When it comes to different types of social media experts, there are, for example, social media managers, whose all-around job is to curate the content on an account or on multiple accounts. There are content creators, whose job is to create the content that will be then scheduled or posted. There are copywriters who write the text, the captions, and everything else. There are also influencers. So I would say it is fairly important at one point or the other. Pay attention to your own skills and to your interests so you can figure out which position and which niche is the one that fits you the most, that interests you the most, and in which you can offer the most value to your clients. And now let's talk about the entry into the social media management and social media marketing. What do you need to know? What do you need to do to establish yourself and start offering your services? First thing first, you need to figure out which social media platforms are out there. For example, what are the global and most well-known social media platforms? And also, if there are any, what social media platforms are popular only in your location? For example, social media used in America differs from social media in Russia. And although there is Instagram and Facebook, or at least was in Russia, there are also other platforms like VK, Odnoklassniki, and other platforms. So you should be aware what applications and media platforms are being used, not just globally, but also in your specific area. When getting to know social media platforms, you should also pay attention to the audience that are using those. For example, it is a common joke that Facebook is mostly used by soccer moms and old people. TikTok is used by younger people, teenagers, young adults, and LinkedIn professional circle jerk. Twitter is for ranting and short form shocking content, and other platforms are for other purposes. They have other audiences and they're used differently. So marketing a specific business or a service, you should keep that in mind, because it's unnecessary to market things you want to market to pregnant women on LinkedIn, or try to sell, I don't know, something else on some other platform that is not fit for it. When getting to know the platforms, you should also read or try to figure out through your own experience how the algorithms on these platforms work. What do they support? What do they try to suppress? How you yourself can make content go viral, or how you can use other creators to create that effect. It is also good to get to know what advertising tools are available on these platforms. For example, through Meta or Facebook, you can advertise on Instagram and Facebook, or you can use Facebook boosting for specifically advertising something on Facebook, or you can use Instagram advertising tool to advertise something only on Instagram. And although Meta owns both platforms, advertising on both of them works a bit differently, and setting up ads for both platforms in the same place will work in a third way completely. So you should be aware of that, and you should pay attention to what tools, what platforms possess and offer to you. When entering social media marketing and trying to find your niche and establish yourself or build up your own social media accounts, you should also think about in what way do you want to offer your services, how do you want to become visible, and how do you yourself want to interact with social media during or after work. For example, I myself don't have a big social media following, and I don't need one because I don't use social media to find clients. I use other methods. So for me, it doesn't really matter how big is my social media following. My work, the case studies I've made, they speak for themselves. Then again, there are other social media advertisers and specialists who specifically build up their social media to use that as their business card. And it's in one sense a good way to do it if you also enjoy doing social media during or after work. But at the same time, it has its own, let's say, downsides. Because, for example, well, if your social media following decreases, you no longer have relevance or clients or proof that your services work. Or, for example, if you get burnt out from social media, well, you still need to use it because your social media profile is your way of communicating with your clients and getting paid, for example, right? So you should have a moment of thinking. In a sense, do you want to live social media and make money off of it as an advertiser, as a social media specialist, so to say? Or do you want to do it just as your day job and you don't want to tie it to your persona too much? Because again, as I said previously, I myself don't want to tie myself too much to my work. I don't want my personal decisions to have an effect on the agency and so on and so forth. So I don't really build my own social media presence. I don't care about it. I do networking in other ways that are, let's say, more fit for my personality and my approach to my work. And that is all individual. So through time, I believe that you will find your own way of communicating, finding clients, having negotiations, and so on and so forth. But if you choose to grow your social media through, let's say, building up your own social media presence, let's call it lifestyle growth. Well, in that case, you should of course focus on building up your own profile, your own content, improving its quality, trying to figure out the algorithms and how to go viral on there, because your social media profile, the virality of your post, the quality of your captions and pictures and videos and everything else, that will be your portfolio. So you will have to constantly keep it updated, and you will have to always keep in mind and keep track of all the changes that are happening on the platforms so that you will not fall off the algorithm. And again, to each their own. A lot of people enjoy that, but to me it seems a lot more stressful. And in that regard, for me, a question arises in a sense of, do you really want to focus that much on building up your own social media, or you want to focus on the work? Because if you want to focus on the work, maybe you shouldn't focus so much on your own social media presence. But as I said, to each their own. The other approach I would call business-only approach, the one I personally recommend, endorse, and have been using in building up my own business. Business-only method means that you don't really need to focus on your own social media presence. You can have your social media accounts, but I recommend just making your portfolio profile or like an agency profile or whatever and building up that. First thing is, you don't need to update it as often. You just need to put their relevant works, which are, let's say, your reels, or they are the testimonies to the quality of your work. For example, our agency Instagram is used purely for posting our creative portfolio. So logos somebody draws or websites we make, only those things go there. Or, for example, we also use it for liking and following our clients and partners, sharing their posts and this and that. So that's the only purpose it's there for. It has maybe like about 100 followers, and that doesn't matter because Instagram doesn't bring us revenue, so we don't focus on that. In the business only approach, I recommend trying out all the different types of social media advertising and building up social media accounts. Figure out the industry you like or you have experienced with, figure out the social media you want to work with, and try making different types of content, like make some reels and photos and videos, write some descriptions, and try anything. Just try until you start to see patterns of what things are you enjoying or what things you're not enjoying that much, where you're better at, where you're more effective, where you waste less time, so to say. Again, speaking from experience, while trying to run different accounts for my clients, and in the first years I was eager to do it, so at one time I had 20 Facebook pages and 20 Instagram accounts in management. Well, thank you scheduling, it wasn't that difficult, but it showed me very clearly that I enjoy figuring out and building strategies for my clients and their social media accounts. I enjoy figuring out the media plan. Depending on the business and the product or the service, I might also enjoy content creation. For example, my friends are opening a business, gastronomy, food, street food. I can take food photos for their Instagram or shoot some videos for reels and whatever. I enjoy that. Again, I did not enjoy copywriting. My language is too bland and dry for it, so, it's not the one that works well, but I can take that into consideration, and if I want to, I can improve my writing, and if I don't want to, I can just hire somebody who will do it better, while I will be able to focus on something that I consider more important. And the last advice when it comes to entering the social media marketing industry is that try, learn, fail, try again. Just don't have any expectations, really. Try everything you can try. Try this, try that, try different industries, run social media accounts for your friends and family, just start a meme account or whatever, make up a fake product, just generate something with AI and try. Because only through trial and error you will actually, first of all, learn in a meaningful way, because through trial and error you learn based on experience and not just words, and that shit works much better. So I highly recommend you doing that. So let's talk about building your portfolio. First thing you need to take into account is that everything and anything can be portfolio if the result of it can persuade the viewer to build trust for you. For example, I bought a new iPad, right? And I wanted to test it out, try it out, or just get a better feel of it. And I started drawing on it a lot, excessively. Different illustrations, logos, whatever. All that is content. I used some of my most, let's say, curious works on the portfolio. And those works were later sold or adapted for other businesses, or they were used as references from potential clients who then became clients and ordered my work. For example, you did some cool social media post, caption of which really affected the engagement to that post in a very positive way. Use that as a portfolio, but you need to rework that a bit more into a case study. But you get the point of it, right? Second thing you should know is that in your portfolio you can use both your personal projects and your professional projects. For example, in my portfolio you can see works that I did for paying customers, for example the graphic design or whatever else other content. Even organizing a video shoot by some other creative agency or a group or by freelancers is in my portfolio because I organized the project or was a creative director there or whatever, what else. When me and my friends, for example, are starting other businesses, or my friends tell me that, look, we are starting a restaurant and we need content for it and some social media stuff. Of course I will help my friends out, but the materials I create there will also, they have a chance of going to my portfolio. When I'm starting even this project as business courses, that will also go to my portfolio as my video editing or sound engineering or funnel building or whatever else. Anything can be portfolio, anything that you've done and that is worthy of displaying to the wider public. So in that sense, I would say that You should be open-minded and creative with building your portfolio. It doesn't have to be a hard work. It can be passionate work. It can be unique work. It can be anything. It can be something you drew in your free time that looks kind of cool, to a project you did for an international company. It all fits. It just depends what is your goal. What are you trying to sell? So yeah, be creative with your portfolio. Try, build, engage with your friends, with your family, engage with their businesses. Try to realize their creative ideas. Anything really. Anything that you feel can help your business. In regards to building your portfolio in social media marketing, I also highly recommend documenting everything. For example, you create a new social media profile, or you got access to your friend's business's Instagram account, right? Document everything. How many likes and followers they have at the time, what their Instagram looks like, and everything. Everything you can document. And document the things you're doing, how you are setting them up. If you're, let's say, creating content, then write down why this choice of content is the one you're picking. If you're, let's say, setting up ads for a social media profile, then write down what audiences you are using, what type of content you are using, what placement you're using, and why you are using it. Because later on, it will be good material for analytics when the project is coming to an end. And on the other hand, it's also, let's say, potential material for a case study. If the project turns out really well, you can use these steps as literally materials for building your case study, because the way you build your case study will depend on what is the thing you're doing, what is your niche, and everything else. So in that regard, get to know the analytics of the platform you are using and learn to track the data that is moving around and the things that are happening as a result of the actions you've been taking. So for example, like you've been running an account for a week, the engagement grew or it dropped. Maybe you start getting more comments. Are those positive comments or negative comments? Maybe you got a whole lot of traction on your social media, but that didn't convert to any sales or purchases of services. So, then you can analyze that and try to figure out one way or the other why it is happening and what you can do to improve the results, or maybe fix the damage you have created, which can also happen. It just depends on your approach and the businesses you're working with. One more good thing to consider is getting certificates. Certificates for platforms, or just online certificates, or going to extra courses, this and that. First of all, it's a good way to learn. Or if not learn something new, it's to get one more perspective on the subject that you're already familiar with. Because, well, I would say I understand Google Ads rather decently, but I still pass those Google courses for these advertising platforms and their analytics platforms. I passed the same courses on the LinkedIn Learning, and I see people getting many different certificates, and they're a good thing. They can, in one way, give you more credibility, which will help you sell your services if you have less charisma, so to say, or smaller portfolio. And it can also give you extra confidence and give your clients extra confidence, because in the same way your regular university education, it just gives the client confidence, or the company hiring you confidence that you will be able to perform the tasks that you will be assigned to. The same way here, learn, get the certificates done, have them digitally or printed. They might not help you, they might help you one way or the other. They also display discipline. And in, let's say, advertising in general, in social media, as well as in finance, discipline and patience are important. And if your certificates are displaying that you are disciplined and you know what you are doing, and then it's only good for you. Because again, I would assume that when I was a beginner and I was getting all these certificates, I want to believe that they helped me, that they made clients trust me more, which allowed me to, first of all, make money and stay afloat, and secondly, build a portfolio and learn myself how these things operate in practice. On the other hand, I would say that nowadays, well, I don't display them anywhere anymore. If I'm asked about them, I can tell the client that, look, yes, I am a certified expert in this and my colleagues are as well. But that's being asked very rarely. But again, I found my niche, I found what interests me, so I don't feel the need at the moment. But it might always arise. So remain flexible, be open to new things, be open to learning, be open to adding more to your existing knowledge, be open to adapting new perspectives to the same subjects. That will keep you more agile and more able to adapt, which will make you a more valuable asset, not only for your clients, but for partners as well. When it comes to positioning and pricing your services, that can be a touchy subject because it really depends on your location, the market, the competition, your skills and confidence, as well as prices of similar services elsewhere. Well, again, it very much depends on a variety of factors. It's difficult to tell how to correctly price yourself or specifically price yourself, but I always recommend doing it intuitively, because I've always done it intuitively when I was a freelancer, and after starting the agency I just doubled and tripled the prices simply because that was the only logical way, or not logical way, it was the fastest and the easiest way, and it was also accessible. The clients accepted it, so I was like, okay, I guess it works, sure. I've encountered companies and let's say freelancers that mark up their prices like crazy, but it usually doesn't end well. If you are inexperienced or you're not offering a service that lives up to the expectations set by the price, you are kind of sabotaging yourself by creating a potentially negative experience for the client, potentially not pulling through with your services as expected, and other things. So overpricing your services I highly don't recommend. If you're insecure or your portfolio is small, I recommend starting off with smaller and, let's say, more lenient prices. Try Fiverr or other Go Work a Bit or whatever else platforms where you can get paid at least something and build confidence in portfolio, or ask for reasonable payments for your, let's say, beginners or amateurish experimentations with businesses. And when you become more confident, when you see what prices are attached to the same services on other agency pages or what prices are being offered by other freelancers, when you see these things, you will slowly start to figure out what is the price you want to take for what service and what are the chances that you will be able to get hired with these prices. For example, when it comes to more or less automated services that we have, their prices are more lenient, because I don't feel like our pricing should be overestimated where and when it's not necessary. So when the question is, or the service is something continued advertising on Google or Facebook, then usually it's a lower price that just depends on the budget of the client and the amount of time that will need to be spent on the initial setup of everything. And from then on, it's just a reoccurring optimization fee, which is really just a reasonable price for it, so to say. When it comes to services that, well, are in demand but are very annoying and that I or the team doesn't want to do much, we try to price them higher so that if we are hired for this service, then at least the payoff is enough to compensate the hustle or the disliking towards offering that service. And when it comes to other services, just somewhere around the middle or a bit higher of the market is completely fine. But again, that's if you have experience, you have confidence in yourself, you have an idea of how much time and resources it requires for you to fulfill this service. From there on, you start to calculate it. It's also important to think about positioning yourself. How will you position yourself in the market or in the industry, and why you choose to do it in that or the other way? If you want to be a freelancer, or you want to be hired by somebody, or you want to start your own agency, you know, it also depends on, do you want to do the technical part, or you want to be more creative? Do you want to be creative, let's say, physically, like draw things or design things, or you want to set up whatever there is to set up in a creative way? Or you just want to do the minimum work. For example, creative directors oftentimes, yeah, you know what, I have an idea, you should do it this or that way, and the color should be pink and green, and I think that you should use these fonts, and have it all Barbie-ish, bubbly and friendly and whatever, and they get paid for that. If that's what you want to do, sure, then position yourself as such. When positioning yourself, take into account your strongest sides and skills. For example, if you're good at, let's say, copywriting, but not that good at designing, position yourself as a good copywriter. Keep in mind that you're not that good in design, so have some other freelancers or partners at hand who will be able to substitute you in that area. Also, you should figure out for yourself, do you want to work with smaller businesses, or you want to work with medium-sized businesses, or you want to work with government contracts, or you want to work with anything else, whatever feels comfortable for you. For example, I started off from working with cafes and restaurants, and ended up working mostly with government agencies and with international transatlantic companies, so to say, simply because based on my experiences, working with cafes and restaurants was not something I enjoyed that much, so I figured I want to go the more corporate route, simply because it's dry and bland, just the way I like it. And also figure out, are you a more of a, let's say, high-end specialist? Do you want to work with high-end brands? Or you want to, let's say, have it as your side hustle? You manage a couple small business Instagram accounts every now and then, and it's all good, it's enough for you, Figure out your niche, figure out what you want to do, what you like to do, what you want to get paid for, how much you want to get paid for it realistically, and position yourself as that. Embody the specialist that you want your clients to hire, and market yourself to them as that, either via your social media presence or via the negotiations and emails or cold calls that you choose to do to get those clients. When it comes to finding clients, there are mostly, I would say, two ways for it: online and offline. If you want to find clients online, well, be available on working platforms. Again, Fiverr and other platforms like that. There's Meet Frank and a bunch of other ones. You can also find clients on social media by making your own profile be more noticeable or viral, or by contacting businesses on their social media accounts, or finding their contacts via their social media. Or you can use LinkedIn to contact managers or whoever of these businesses on LinkedIn. You can again scavenge contacts and do cold calling, you can send emails, anything works really. You just have to be creative with it, and you have to, be noticeable for them to reply to you. Then there is also, of course, the online way of finding clients, which is your friends, family, business partners, or your existing clients recommending you as a specialist to their contacts. For example, our agency is mostly advertised via word of mouth. So our partners talk about us selling our services, and our clients recommend us to their partners or their relatives or friends, which means we don't need to spend any money on advertising ourselves, and we don't really need to care about keeping up our social media. Our Facebook has been abandoned for I don't know how many months now, maybe even a year. We haven't posted anything there. We don't need to. Simple as that. But in regards to finding clients offline, you can again have your posters laying around somewhere if you want to do it that way, or go to cafes, go to restaurants, go to shops, go to businesses, and offer them your services. Talk to people. I found multiple clients while doing fuck knows what. For example, one time a friend of mine asked me to be a model for some event where their barber shop was making haircuts. So I was asked to be a model there, right? I go do it just because my friend asked me to. Didn't get anything for it. But while at the event, I started chit-chatting with some woman, and apparently she had a cosmetics business and also some other business, and she needed an advertiser for her other business. And I told her that we have an agency, this and that, and so she became our new client. Offline communication and networking brought us a new client without even trying it. So, there are different ways to approach it, and find the one that is the most accessible, comfortable, and effective for you personally. Again, in my experience, marketing your agency online is kind of cringe and doesn't work that well, plus it's expensive. Marketing myself offline, there are many ways that I just don't want to do it, but I enjoy talking to people, so negotiations or just some random event networking, of course, if the audience is fit, it comes effortlessly. As a result, I get more clients to the agency without even struggling for it. In that regard, it is always important to keep in mind your situation, how you are as a person, your strengths and weaknesses, and build upon that. Embody the advertiser or social media specialist that you want to be, but don't break yourself down and build a new person. Use yourself as you are and build upon that. That will be the easiest and most effective approach, and probably the most long-lasting one. As I said, there are mainly two ways to market yourself. It is online and offline, but there's this one, a mixed way, or maybe an in-between way to sell yourself and market yourself to find clients, which is partners. We work with multiple advertising agencies, we work with multiple freelancers, and they bring us clients as well, because if they get a project that they need a specialist for or need a list of other services for, they come to us. And if we do that, then we also invite them over, which means we share the bread and provide a better service without having to hustle for it too much. Once again, an effective way to get clients without trying too hard. So again, make partnerships, make friendships, be a good expert, a good specialist, but also be a good person. Don't be a piece of shit scammer, because that way you will make some money fast, probably, yes, but it won't be any long-lasting money. You will ruin your contacts and, let's say, relationships, which in long term will do more damage to you. So again, as I am trying to give you the most effective information that has helped me the most, my goal is not only to make money off this course, it is also to offer equal value to the money I'm taking for it. Keep that in mind. Be a decent human being and do good work. And if you messed up, admit to it and fix it. And don't expect too much where it's unnecessary to expect too much. Okay, so now let's talk about finding your spot in the industry of social media marketing. After what you've heard so far in the course, and after trying those things out on practice, you'll probably start seeing some patterns, some feedback, and just some personal remarks. For example, oh, apparently I am more natural at writing captions for social media posts. Or I really enjoy scheduling and planning out how media should be posted throughout different channels throughout the month or whatever. Maybe you enjoy analyzing the results of campaigns that you do on social media or the results of your management. You should start looking for your niche and your specialization. What is that specific thing in social media that you are drawn to the most and you enjoy engaging with the most? Or hopefully they overlap, but also what are the things that the clients appreciate in you the most? What are your highest valued services in perspective of your clients? What types of your portfolio works get the most attention, engagement, or which ones bring you the most clients? Because there is no point in doing everything. because at the end of the day, you can't be good at everything. You should, of course, try as much as you can, but in the end, start finding your spot. That specific thing that you're good at, that you enjoy doing, that you're valued for, and that you can make the most money the most effectively. While that is happening, you will probably naturally figure out your style of work. For example, do you like doing the lifestyle approach, or you like the business only? Do you like automating your work, or you enjoy doing it manually? Eventually you will find your style, or that you like to work with. And why I'm mentioning style is because it is not too important, but it has some weight to it, in a sense of, when you know what is your style in your work, it is much easier for you to choose which clients you want to work with, and which ones with which you shouldn't work. Because, for example, of course, in the beginning you want to take on as much work as you possibly can to make some money and to learn and build your portfolio, but at some point you need to start choosing which businesses you want to work with, which ones you don't, which projects are for you and which ones aren't. Because again, our agency, for example, doesn't accept all the projects. And once again, I will say that it is fairly important to find partners. Not just the partners that will be recommending you or buying your services, but also those partners that you can rely on, that you can trust, or whose work you enjoy yourself. Because if, for example, you get a request for, let's say, I don't know, creative directing business's Instagram account, for example, right? And they're offering you a good payment for it. You might not necessarily be fit to fulfill their demands by yourself, coming from your style or your taste or whatever, right? But you might have somebody who would fit them exactly, or fit them very well. And you can bring them together, but you can also take a cut from their check because you brought them a client. For example, if I'm bringing somebody a client, I want 20% of the paycheck, and if somebody brings me a client, they get also 20% of the check, because it's fair game. So once again, you don't necessarily need to be good at everything. You don't need to know and be able to offer every single service. You just need to have good enough people around you that you can rely on, so that you as a group can offer these services. And maybe, that will end up in you becoming an agency. Who knows? And for the last part, I want to talk about finding the right tools. Of course, first of all, I always encourage everybody to try to do everything manually. Try out every single step, every single button. Encounter every underwater rock. Fail, learn, repeat again. Because that way you will know the path as much as possible. And then finding the tools, picking the tools, and using the tools will be much more effective and easy, or even focused. Because if you don't know how platform or marketing a business on a specific platform works, you don't know what you can use for making your work more effective, because you don't know what the fuck you need to do, or how to do it, or how do things work on that platform. So of course, always, first of all, try to do everything manually. But then, when you have gone through the process enough times, and you understand how it works, and you understand, and you start to feel like, you know what, here I could save some time by automating this and that, and here I could get better results if I use these tools, or in this place I could get better overview of the process because of the better analytics tools. Then it is time to start finding the tools for your work. Because again, if you enjoy doing everything manually, sure. But if you want to, let's say, start making more money, or you don't want work to take up too much of your time, then it's necessary to start finding the tools. But the choice of tools really depends, again, on your niche and what things you're trying to do more effectively or where you're trying to save time. Because, for example, there is like a Hootsuite and other applications through which you can schedule posts. A lot of platforms also allow scheduling posts in their own native settings. So automating posts and let's say uploading the whole email campaign list or all the social media posts on one day of the month, and then just observing the rest of the month or optimizing, well, that saves you a lot of time, right? So there's Hootsuite for that, for example. There are other tools. It depends on the taste and on the platform you're working with, and again also on how many accounts you're planning to run through that application or platform. For example, personally, I love using and then reworking ChatGPT when writing captions for social media posts or SEO friendly headings for blog posts, or when I just need some filler content somewhere. It's amazing. It does what it does. You just need to use good prompts and every now and then review what it writes and make it more human. Then again, there are also a bunch of great AI tools for generating icons, for picking colors, for making brand books. There are a lot of applications that allow you to quickly edit videos into dynamic ads. There are AI tools to make to format images for all the social media platforms. There are tools to take podcast clips and then to chop them up into Instagram stories, YouTube shorts, TikToks and Reels, and they also add subtitles on them, and they rank them with like I don't know, SEO friendly metrics and everything else. Like, it's crazy. There are a bunch of tools that you can use to make your work, first of all, more effective, cost effective, more time efficient, everything. You don't need to do everything yourself. You can do, and it's good if you can do everything yourself and you have an understanding of how things work, so that you can overview the process and understand what's happening, and you can modify things when necessary, where necessary. But use tools, save time, and enjoy living, because again, you're working to provide for yourself and to be able to live a better life. So don't shy away from using tools. Anyway, I hope that you found this video useful and helpful, educational. Have a great evening. Thank you. Goodbye.